Welcome back to Askewed Reviews. And so far this week, I've been doing workplace comedies in honor of Labor Day being this week. But I'm going to be doing one more film that's a workplace comedy slash action film that is also a viewer request. And it is the 1990 film Men at Work. Here is your trivia question for today. While trying to hide Jack Berger's body, the boys put what mask on him? The answer will be at the end of this episode. So, in the film Men at Work, we have City Councilman Jack Berger, who's been working alongside Maxwell Potterdam III to hide toxic waste. Now, Councilman Berger has decided that he's had enough and he's going to turn himself and Maxwell into the police. We'll get back to what happens with that in a moment, but for now, we're going to meet our main characters of James and Carl, who are a pair of garbage men that work for the company Shoreline Waste. Now, James and Carl have been in a bit of trouble recently, so now an observer named Lewis has been sent to keep an eye on them for the next week. But while they're out on their route, they end up finding something interesting: the body of Jack Berger. So now James, Lewis, and Carl are all now worried about being the suspects when it comes to this, so they take Berger with them and try to figure out their next steps, as they're also not on the best terms with the police at the moment. The boys then end up partnering with Susan, who is Berger's aide, and seems to have the evidence that will clear them. So can James, Carl, Susan, Lewis, and a pizza delivery boy who was taken hostage end up getting this all cleared up before Maxwell can find them and get his henchmen to take them out? So the original title for this film was Clear Intent, and then they almost went with Pop 65. Then it was eventually named Men at Work. Now, what's funny is the original movie poster for this film was much more serious, and then they hastily threw together this one of the boys and a pair of legs cartoonishly coming out of a trash can. No one involved ended up liking this final poster, but they ran out of time. The movie was written and directed by Emilio Estevez, who also starred as the character of James. At one point, there was actually talks of having John Hughes be the producer and director for the film, but that never ended up happening. During the production of St. Elmo's Fire, Emilio Estevez came up with the idea for Men at Work. He was in his apartment at the time, and it was around 5 a.m. All of a sudden, a trash truck came roaring down the alleyway, and this ended up giving him an idea for a film. Editing for the film ran over, so Estevez actually had to work on editing while filming Young Guns 2. Charlie Sheen is Emilio Estevez's brother in real life, and the way he got involved with this movie is he read Emilio's script, really wanted to be a part of it, so Emilio ended up having him play the character of Carl. Estevez originally planned for Judd Nelson to play that character. So the way that Keith David joined the cast as Lewis is it was actually Sheen's suggestion, as having worked with him on the movie Platoon, he felt he would be perfect as a grizzled veteran. Both Estevez and Sheen play garbage men in this film. What's funny though is, 17 years prior to this movie, their father Martin Sheen also played a garbage man in the film Badlands. There's a funny little reference to another Charlie Sheen film in this movie, as James at one point calls Carl a major league loser. This is in reference to Charlie Sheen appearing in the film Major League in the year before. Another reference in the film appears on James's locker. There's a sticker for the band The Circle Jerks, and that band actually appeared in the film The Repo Man alongside Estevez. When Lewis is terrorizing the police officers, you can actually hear the music from A Clockwork Orange. Here's something ridiculous that I never noticed before. The car that the hitmen are in actually has the license plate Hitmen. This movie was entirely filmed in California. So when it comes to the film Men at Work, this movie is definitely fun to watch. I won't say it's the greatest or even the best story, but it is entertaining. So I'm going to give this movie a 3 out of 5. And if you enjoyed this film, other movies I recommend checking out are Stakeout, Weekend at Bernie's, Armed and Dangerous, and Let's Be Cops. Now it's time for the answer to the trivia question from the beginning of this episode. While trying to hide Jack Berger's body, the boys put what mask on him? So as to not try to arouse suspicion, they decide to put a Richard Nixon mask on Jack, which of course does not look cartoonish and ridiculous and wouldn't cause anyone to look directly at it. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Askewed Reviews, and if there's a movie you'd like to see get a review, just mention it in the comments.